Hey, welcome to the best of everything. This is Ruben Paul, and across from me is my brother from another mother, the great Johnny Sanchez.
What's up,
What's
bro?
up, man? How are you?
What is up, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing dandy.
I like when you're polite like that, and
Yeah.
I think sometimes we get off to a rough start.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
But
every once in a while you pop off and say things that are inappropriate. But I love you. And
I'm
that's
scrappy like that.
Yeah, you are.
I'm scrappy like that.
Little Napoleon.
No, not Napoleon. Don't start. We're not getting. We already covered this.
Yeah, but we didn't agree on it. You don't think you have a Napoleon complex?
I don't.
You don't think you do?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, what I wanted to discuss today, I'm just gonna let that slide because we'll get back to it because
we already covered that.
We covered that, but we're gonna get back into it because one thing that's kind of been bothering the both of us, especially at live shows, is sometimes first of all, we appreciate anybody who pays a ticket and comes out to a show.
Of course.
And for all the comedy fans up there, I don't care how funny somebody is on TV or when you watch them online, it's always a better show if they're really good at what they do.
Sure.
To come see them live. There's nothing like a live comedy experience.
Right.
But a lot of comedians have been complaining lately with how audiences are acting. Some audience members are acting, when they come to the show.
Yeah.
Just a lack of respect for the performers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I always say this, and you've heard me say this on stage, like sometimes I get into it with a heckler if he's too drunk or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then you just go, hey man, you got three choices. Yep. Laugh, don't laugh, or leave.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I've seen just a lot of comedians dealing with that, getting into it with audience members, having audience members kicked out. I mean, I've had them kicked out. You've had them kicked out. I'm sure most.
You know how many times that happened to me, yeah.
Yeah, and then I know Jamie Kennedy just recently had an incident at the Irvine Improv where just a table just started chatting in the front row. And again,
so frustrating. I get all.
I know.
I'm already hot in the face, dude. That just drives me crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about different situations. Like sometimes people will sit in the front row and just be texting the whole time.
Yeah.
And somebody who might be listening to this podcast will go, well, if you're funny, maybe they wouldn't be on their phone and this and that. And it's like sometimes it has zero to do with that. It's just like they have no etiquette, no respect for the performers. Right. If you're going to text on your phone, just say, okay, you don't think this comedian is funny. Then just get up and walk out and text message in the lobby.
Go in the lobby, go to the bathroom, make your phone call outside.
There's even been times where I've seen other comedians on stage and somebody answering their phone during a show.
Right.
And having a conversation on their phone during a show. Yeah. And if the comedian is like, hey man, could you go outside? Then they get an attitude like they're being attacked. It's like, no, dude. That's wrong. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
So
it's, well, and we've talked about this for years too, man, where, I mean, we've seen it get worse in the last few years with social media because I always feel like because people are so opinionated now with leaving comments and retweeting and doing it, whatever, even down the Yelping, you know what I mean? People have their opinions about everything now. So I always I've said this to people on stage, don't bring yourself, not your social media self. You know what I mean? Not that person who's going to be like, oh, you know what? And their instinct is to text something, but instead they'll just say something or their body posture or they're huffing and puffing, or they just start talking to somebody. You know what I mean? But it's gotten worse, and it's funny how. So
you definitely think it's gotten worse from when you first started to now?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, the one thing we've always dealt with is drunks.
Yes,
that's been there the entire time, and it's been there before we ever started. So there's always going to be drunk people coming in. But now with people, there is an entitlement that we've noticed.
Yeah,
hey, I paid. So if you're not making me laugh or if they're not into you, then it suddenly becomes this thing where they've got to make noise. They got to bring attention to themselves. But remember how we've always talked how people will not go to the theater and do this.
Yeah.
They don't go to the ballet, the opera, any of these, this is performing arts, by the way, which is what we're still doing. But we're thrown in that environment with alcohol and,
But even if you go to a movie theater and you don't like the movie, you don't sit up here and then just break into conversation. You'd be like, hey, you want to get out of here? This movie sucks. Let's
Right.
I just find
or start talking loud, and then because people will shh after a while.
Yeah.
But people feel there's this involvement with the comics that I've never really quite been able to put my finger on. Where some people just go, well, I want to be involved.
Here's one thing that's unique about comedy, though, that we can't discount, and is when comedy is to bring people joy, right?
Yeah.
Like you want them to come, you want to make them happy, you want to entertain them, and you're entertaining them through trying to make them laugh. But the irony of that is stand-up comedy is one of the few art forms where if you don't make people laugh, you can get the completely opposite emotion is anger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you could be at a comedy club, and if somebody doesn't make you laugh, it seems like there's no middle ground. It's like now they're pissed. You know what I mean? Man, I fucking paid my money to see this. And you know what I mean? It goes from that one
that's true.
extreme.
Right. Which is really weird because, it's the thought is to come in for enjoyment and to, have a fun, good time. It's weird how quickly they don't allow the time to go through with a comic sometimes.
Yeah.
It can be really fast. You know what I mean? And that's also another thing that makes me wonder where people are mentally sometimes when they come in. And I didn't even know about the Jamie Kennedy thing, but did he have to have them removed?
Yeah, it ended up getting on TMZ and everything. And I actually texted with Jamie and thought he did the right thing. But he just basically, he said he became a substitute teacher. He just started lecturing the audience on etiquette. And the point is like, I think from his perspective, it's like, hey, I don't care if you don't think I'm funny. This is just not how you act. This is not what you do. Leave. But just to sit up here and break in a conversation when there might be other people around you. That's the thing.
That's one of my things, man. I always tell people that.
This audience member decides to be the leader of the whole group is like, yo, just because you don't think this person is funny doesn't mean everybody in the room agrees with you. Especially as a performer, sometimes, me and you have talked about this in the past. Like sometimes you'll be killing on stage and then you'll look over and there's one table not laughing. Yeah. There's 300 people in the room, so that means there's like 295 people that are laughing really hard, and then there's 5 people who isn't. So what if those 5 people decide to disrupt the show because they don't think it's funny? So now, you decide, your one table decides for the rest of the group. It's ridiculous. If you don't like it, just get up. And I'm just the type of person, and I always think it's weird on social media, is when people don't like something to stop and leave a negative comment.
Right.
To me, that blows my mind.
They're scrolling. Wait.
I can't think of anything that's more of a waste of time than stopping and leaving a comment to tell somebody I don't think that they're funny, or I don't like. If I don't like something, I just scroll by.
Right.
I just keep going.
Right.
I'm not going to waste any time trying to ruin somebody's day or trying to make a point about that.
I saw a really cool picture with Kate Quigley, who we love, very funny comedian, Kate Quigley, and she had a cool thing, and I think she had I think it was a Def Leppard shirt on, Def Leppard or Journey, Foreigner, I can't remember. I think it was Def, and it was a cool pic that she took. She always takes great pics, whatever. And then I happened to be looking at and one dude just goes, Def Leppard sucks. Like, why would you stop? It had nothing to do because she posted it had some where she was.
Yeah.
She just happened to have this, shirt on. And the dude had to stop and just write whatever the band was, sucks.
Yeah.
And I almost was about to reply like, yo, dude, what does that have to do with her post?
But it just makes you think
I'm gonna reel in that trolly guy. That, you know what I mean?
Are you that miserable with your life that you have to try to bring somebody else down to make them feel probably how you're feeling at the moment when you leave a ridiculous comment like that. I just think you just get more out of trying to uplift people and support people.
Sure.
And one thing that we love about doing shows is sometimes when you just walk into the room and you go, man, they came to have a good time. You can just feel it. You can feel it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why people come out to a comedy show not to have a good time.
Right.
But just getting into the entitlement of audience members or fans is what we just seen in sports with what happens when people buy tickets to go to a game, whether it be basketball, football, or baseball. Heckling is a part of it's a part of comedy that I don't know if necessarily should be a part of comedy.
Right.
But in sports,
there's always I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
I'll let you get back to sports, but
Yeah.
there's always an announcement. No talking and yelling and heckling. I mean, they give the announcement before every single show.
Yeah.
And yet people still feel compelled.
And if you take fans or audience members that go to see sporting events, booing the opposing team is a part of it. But there should be a line. Just because you buy a ticket doesn't give you the right to abuse somebody. You can't, if, I don't know,
LeBron.
No. Well, he's on the Lakers now, so I wouldn't say it. But if it's, if it's an athlete that, is on the opposing team as an audience member, he's about to shoot his free throw, I can't be like, fuck your mother. Like, what would make that ever okay to say some shit like that or just yell a racial slur? And it just happened recently with Russell Westbrook in Utah. So the thing that I found interesting was at those moments, I think audience members had to find out that these athletes are human beings. Sure. And he said one thing that is so true is he wouldn't say that to me if I was walking down the street.
Right.
He wouldn't come up to me and go and say those things that he said that aggressively, that disrespectful. It's one thing to say you suck. It's one thing to say you miss it. I mean, even growing up in Little League, playing baseball, like, hey, batter, swing. You know what I mean?
Pitcher's got a rubber arm.
Yeah, exactly. Where you would heckle them, and that was a part of the game. Even though they're trying to outlaw that now.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, dude.
Which I'm like, come on, man. Like, really?
Yeah, man.
No taunting, but in Little League?
What was
I used to love that.
Hey, oh, how about rally? The pitcher's name is Sally. Whoop, whoop. Rally. The pitcher's name is Sally. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That was some hood shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wasn't going to say anything.
I know what you were thinking. But
I like that.
Yeah, rally. The pitcher's name is Sally. That's when somebody, like if you'd get a couple of base runners on base, we'd stand up in the dugout and just start screaming that to the top of our...
If they did that today, then one parent's going to go, so wait...
The umpire would call a timeout. He'd come and go, hey, guys...
It's derogatory towards what if there's a girl on one of the teams or one of the players is in transition.
Yeah.
You can't...
Oh, my God. Yeah, I never even thought of that.
There's no way you can...
One of the players in transition. Could you imagine that? What would your dad say if they told him one of the players was in transition? Never mind.
He would just be like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. They're playing. That's what he would say.
Oh, man.
But the sports...
My dad would be like, transition. What's transition? Transmission? No, Dad. Transition. What's transition? He wouldn't even. Yo, man, if my father was still alive, man, it would just be interesting to see him during this time with all the changes, all the things that are so different from, especially coming from Haiti to America, and then having to figure out American lifestyle and trying to assimilate the best way that he can or survive in it. And then the progression to what it is now. Like I told you, my dad socked a teenager when I was a kid. Yeah. Like, do you know he'd get arrested for that? Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, I'll tell the story very quickly. I was like 10 or 11 and there was this dude in our neighborhood. He was like 16 and he was roughing me up,
like way too old.
He was way big kid, I don't know what I did or if I had a smart mouth or whatever. And he was kind of roughing me up. And at the time he was roughing me up, my father is pulling up and he sees this. My father gets out the car, doesn't put it in park. The car's still rolling. My father runs up behind the guy, taps him, like grabs him on the shoulder, turns around, and socks him full on grown man punch in his chest.
Wow.
Full on. And I remember even as a kid going, oh, like knowing you can't, like, Dad, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
I don't care. You mess with my son, I'll mess with you. So my dad did it. But could you imagine nowadays?
Today?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's...
They would have called the cops. He'd have been in. But could you imagine the Crip calling the cops? Hey, cuz. Motherfucker Haitian, cuz. Motherfucker Haitian. Motherfucker sock me in my chest, cuz. Hey, y'all come get this nigga, man. This motherfucker sock me in my chest, cuz. Like, that probably wouldn't even be a phone call they'd want to make. Could you imagine?
No way. Oh, my God. That's great.
Yeah, so...
Wish you could still do stuff like that, man.
You'd love to do that stuff like that, huh?
To people who deserve it, yeah. I'm talking about adults. I'm talking about like 18.
Yeah, I don't know. But, you know, but getting back to just how people act now.
The good thing is that guy's going to be banned, though, for life, right? The fan.
From Utah.
He's
getting
from
banned.
Utah for
and
home games.
I thought a couple of good things came about it. One was, I hope it just lets people know that these guys are human, and just because they play sports don't mean that you can talk to them any way you want to talk to them.
Right.
Just like
or that you paid for your ticket, because some of these people also feel entitled because they pay their ticket, or they're season ticket holder, or you know what I mean? So
they think they can say anything that they want. But I thought when Donovan Mitchell came out, which I thought was very just insightful and just a strong move on his point about talking about the community in Utah, because he was drafted there, he plays there, he loves the community, and he came out and he said that, and he goes, this fan doesn't represent the Utah that I know. You know, this doesn't represent all the fans in the arena. But with that being said, I've heard it, racial slurs being yelled out here at this arena, and basically, I'm paraphrasing, is don't let, you know, one rotten apple ruin the whole bunch. But it does happen. And then the other point he went on to is, you know, with free agency and stuff, we see players moving, you know,
around,
LeBron coming, you know, and we know the NBA is predominantly black. So, man, if black players feel like a city is racist, they're not going to want to play there. That's why the Celtics had a hard time getting players. People didn't want to go play in Boston, you know, and a lot of my people from Massachusetts, they get angry when I say it, but it's the truth, you know, and it's something that was, you know, spoken amongst players. I'm privy to some of those conversations because, you know, I have friends that are in the league and agents and stuff like that we know, where it's like they're like, nah, man. But when Kevin Garnett decided to go there and Ray Allen, it kind of changed the perception. And let me just say, Boston fans are some of the most knowledgeable fans for the Celtics, the Red Sox. They're passionate. And not everybody is racist, and they do cheer for their team, but you know, there has been issues in some of those stadiums with things being said, and I just go, there's just no room for that in society, let alone in sports. Like, the thing that's funny is, like, this same person that you're calling a nigger, guess what? There's one on your team too, but you like this one because he was wearing your uniform, and you just,
and if he got traded and then he was back on that guy's team, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I like what's his name.
It's the ultimate, to me, sign of ignorance. And one thing that I've always loved about sports, from playing it all those years, sports is one thing that brought everybody together, man. You know, that's one thing that I loved about football, is when you are a part of a team, no matter where this player comes from, especially when I went to college, and you have
El Camino Real?
No.
CCO?
No.
ECC?
No. Really? So, what college did you go to?
COS.
What's that?
College of the Sequoias.
Oh, whatever.
In Visalia, California. Shout out.
College of the
University
Sequoias.
of Visalia. We used to call it University of Visalia.
Oh, my God.
Hey, it was a junior college just like yours.
No, but
yours is a junior.
I went to university.
When?
I went to Long Beach State.
You got injured at El Camino Real.
No, I didn't get. I got injured at Long Beach, and then I went to El Camino.
Correct. And then you said you wanted to go to a 4-year, but you didn't.
No. Long Beach is a 4-year university. Dude,
yeah, but
that shows how much you know nothing about the college system in America.
Did you do? No. You did 2. I thought you said you did. You went to El Camino for 2.
No. Hurt. No. All right. went to Long Beach, got hurt. The only reason why I went to El Camino was because a coach told me, hey, we recruit out of Elko. Go there for a year.
That's what it was, Elko.
Yeah, El Camino.
Yeah.
Go to Elko for a year. We'll recruit you out of Elko, and then you can go to UCLA because one of the coaches that recruited me from Oregon, he was coaching at UCLA. They didn't have any scholarships, so he was like, yo, go to Elko for a year, and then we'll recruit you and go to UCLA.
You say Elko.
Well, at the time, El Camino College was the #1 junior college in
Thank
football.
you, junior college. Thank you.
But that wasn't the first school that I went to.
We went through this before. You were trying to make it sound like it was that was a 4-year, and I said I don't think it is.
How would I not know what the school was, and I'm the one who went there?
You just like to expand a little bit on things.
My God, dude.
But anyway.
Can I finish the story? How did we even get on this, man? Just because you didn't go to university doesn't mean...
I didn't know you went to university.
Yes,
you said,
I did.
All I knew was you bragging about Elko.
No.
The whole time.
Elko actually wasn't a good experience for me.
Okay.
It wasn't. Because when I got there, I thought I was going to just be there for a year and go to UCLA. And then when I got to Elko, everybody who couldn't pass the SAT, who was like the #1 recruits in the country, it was like, dude, it was like going to an all-star team. Like every great athlete who couldn't get a Division I scholarship was at El Camino trying to get their grades up to go to a 4-year. I was already at a 4-year, came there thinking I was going to be the big, I was going to be the big fish. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I was already at university, and then I came in. My team at El Camino would have whooped our team's ass at Long Beach. Yeah, they were just that. It was like they had so many great athletes there.
Bothersome though that
I was devastated.
But and then the injury did not allow you to go to UCLA. Is that what ended up happening?
No. I was hurt, and I was basically doing my rehab and everything all at Elko.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was a great program, and they sent a lot of players to Division I out of El Camino. That's why I went there, and for me it was logical. When the coach told me, he was like, "Yo, go to I'm at UCLA. Go to Elko. We recruit there, and then we'll just pick you out there." And when I got there, dude, it was so many great athletes.
Yeah.
It was, when I tell you, Johnny,
I bet how many Mexicans are on the football team?
I mean, it was football, not soccer.
No, I meant football.
No, it was. Anyway, I'm digressing from this whole point.
I know. All right.
So, are we clear on everything now?
Now we're clear.
Are we clear on what happened?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to bring up these old wounds?
No, we're good, man.
All right.
We're good, bro. Sure.
So, can I get back to the Donovan Mitchell point?
Yeah.
So,
make the point.
When he's talking about recruits, players coming to play for him, that's tough if a player thinks that this place is racist.
City,
yeah, and it'll be hard for him to build. So the Celtics owe a lot to Kevin Garnett for a lot of different reasons, because he brought back this vibe of, okay, man, I love the city of Boston. Right. I love the people here. They got the great fans, and Boston fans are some of the most hilarious fans ever when they heckle properly.
Right.
Like I remember
just funny.
Yeah, I remember one time when Lamar Odom played for the Lakers, and he was at the free throw line, and then all the fans at the Garden started clapping, "Ugly sister." Ugly sister. Because he dated Chloe. Because everyone said, the other two were Kim and I can't remember the other one's names, but I thought that was hilarious. But they've always
Courtney,
yeah, because Courtney,
which I've always thought is the
most attractive,
except now for what's her name, Jenner,
Kate, not
the model, the one that models.
I don't know their. I don't keep up with them.
Huh?
Kylie,
Kendall,
and Kendall.
No, Kendall.
Whoa, you sounded a little R. Kelly-ish on that one.
Kendall.
Ooh, ay, Kendall. Damn, Johnny, he's like, no, Kendall. But no, they have great fans. But I just think
Yeah.
people just need to be aware because
That's one thing that we wait. I'll let
No,
you.
go
I'll let
ahead.
you finish
Go
on the
ahead.
sports.
No.
I'm going to let you finish on the sports.
no,
Sports
I was pretty much done with
Okay.
that point because I just think the bottom line is, if you wouldn't say something to somebody's face on the street,
know,
just to say, and we've dealt with that in comedy clubs.
I was just
where
gonna
somebody
say,
is yelling
yeah.
out and saying something. It's like, dude, how many times, and you've seen me snap on stage before. It's like, dude, I'm a man first,
Right.
first and foremost.
Right.
You can't tell me, you can't yell certain shit at me on the stage. Like, hey man, why don't you just shut the fuck up and do your show?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just wait for me outside then?
Right.
And when you're saying it not in a joking manner. Now, sometimes on stage as a comedians, I would tell an audience member to shut the fuck up.
But
But it's in a joking way and,
Yeah.
it's clear. But when somebody's being overly aggressive, and the first thing that pops in my mind is like, why are you here, man?
Yeah.
Why are you?
But
did you? I used to do a joke about back in the day. This is one of the jokes I used to do when I used to first started because, whenever I would go to house parties and stuff, like especially in the hood, a fight would always break out. And the joke was I'd act like I was a gangbanger ironing his pants. Like, what you doing tonight? Like, man, about to go to this party and fuck somebody up. It's like, dude, that's how you get ready. That's how you get dressed. Like, you're getting taking a shower, thinking about who you're gonna fuck up at a party.
Right.
Like, why? Like, it's a party.
Yeah.
The essence of the word
Yeah,
is
but-
good time, fun,
Yeah.
and people literally show up to places
Looking for a problem.
looking for trouble.
Looking for trouble.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but those people are just, they got so many issues and demons that they're probably dealing with. And we all had guys like that back home. Same thing, man. We always knew when somebody showed up at a party, we were like, oh shit, is he
Yeah.
going to start a fight? But it's interesting too because, like you said, it's tricky for us as comics because when we get upset, now we can bag on the person and we can make fun of the way they look or their clothes.
Yeah.
But the minute we get upset, sometimes audience members would be like,
Yeah.
Well-
they look at us like we lost control.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, isn't he supposed to just stay funny the whole time? Like, remember the crazy drunk Asians that night?
Oh yeah, you were
The
pissed.
10, 12 Asian
Oh,
girls that
Johnny
came in
was pissed.
talking in the front row, took up the entire front row at the Long Beach Laugh Factory, chatting. I finally had to tell those other girls who were just having a conversation about, and I made the joke because they were Asian. I made the joke, are you guys talking about your salon? That's what they were talking about. They were talking about nails because they told Katrina that later.
That was a good. That's pretty racist. That's a good one.
But I ended up being right. But I was right. So what ended up happening, everybody, it was the girl in the front was real chatty, but there was these two over here. They were all a little just, here's the deal. This is what happens to us sometimes. So some people get together as a group and whether it's a bachelorette party, a bachelor party, a birthday, or whatever,
Yeah.
a divorce party, some people have this mentality, and it's a group mentality, not just one person. We've been talking about the one person. There's a group of people that come to a club
And think they're gonna run the whole night.
They were like, it's going to be about us.
Yes.
And the reason why those girls we ended up having to take them out was because it was just, they wanted to be the show.
Yeah.
And man, like, well, you and I have always told people in the audience sometimes, hey man, once I say this, the audience is on our side.
Yeah.
But it's true. I always tell these people who are being loud, it's like, you realize that person behind you, you're disrupting that person, and they paid and they didn't come here to fucking listen to you.
Yeah.
And that's, once the audience gets behind you and they want, but
It's over.
But
yeah.
the girl goes, remember I was like, oh, you got to go now. Cause I told her like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then she started but it was just straight on conversations,
Yeah.
like not even in the front. So remember I was like, all right. And you saw my face. I'm sure my face was, dude, I was like, you got to go, right?
But this was funny. You were steaming and you had this fake grin on stage like you're okay with everything. Like, nah, I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, I'll wait.
I'll wait.
I'll
I'll
wait.
wait. And I was like, dude, you could fry an egg on Johnny's back right now. He was furious. And dude, I was dying laughing because I knew how angry you were.
Pissed off I was. And it's tricky with females than with the guys. But here's the thing. Here's what always makes you feel better. As they stood up, because I told her, you got to leave. And then she goes, no, I'm leaving. I'm going. In other words, no,
you don't kick me out.
You're not kicking
I'm
me
gonna
out.
leave.
So you do you be you, boo. She says that as she's leaving.
You're fired. No, I quit.
I quit.
Yeah, really.
And as they started to walk out, the entire room was applauding, and people were like, "Get out!" And
Yeah.
that's like, there's nothing
It's nothing better.
And then wasn't that amazing, dude? The show was fantastic from that point on.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Remember? Because I bit the bullet for Ruben. I knew Ruben was up next.
It was great.
And the host before me,
I was kind of prepared, but when they left,
you would have been fine. I mean, I know,
but
you
it was.
been.
But I was,
dude.
It was like, all right, I don't have to deal with that.
You don't have to.
That was awesome.
So
and then I could make fun of them as they were. Yeah.
Right. And so my first 10 minutes was battling them. So I ended up with a decent 10 at the end. You know, I was able to do that last 10 or whatever. But it does get tricky, dude, with guys get pissed off if we tell them to be quiet, or you know, that's always that tricky one, like, yo man, fuck you, dude.
Every interview I've ever done, when somebody asks me who are the worst hecklers, and I always say by far, I don't mean no offense to any women listening, but women are the worst hecklers to deal with. Why? Because society puts limitations on the way we treat women. So you should always, you know, I've never put my hand on a woman, et cetera, et cetera. I treat women with respect. But when a woman gets drunk and she starts yelling out, like, you have to be careful how you address her. Because if you're as aggressive with her as you are with men, it can make the audience very uncomfortable. Like, whoa.
And they can turn on you.
They can turn on you. Yeah. Like, whoa.
Like, she's not that bad, dude.
You didn't.
You know what I mean?
Just like there's been times, I can't remember one comedian got in trouble because he called some chick a cunt in the audience. And when he called her cunt, is all of a sudden the audience was like, whoa, like you crossed the line. You know, by calling
do you
her
know?
that. I can't remember the comic who did it.
This is the same story I'm thinking of. What part of the problem with that one was, the two girls were in the front, and they said something to him, like burned him, and then he, instead of really discussing what they said, he just went straight. This is one guy I know of. Yeah, and he just like, okay, it might have been different.
I don't know.
But yeah, he just basically was like, well, aren't you a couple of, you know what I mean? And then he says,
but here's the thing, Johnny.
And so the audience didn't know what was going on. In other words, it was just like, whoa.
But regardless if it's the same story or not, we know it's happened a bunch of times.
Tons of times.
Where you're dealing with a female heckler, and you become, as the comic, you become aggressive how you normally would. Yeah. And then the audience turns on you. So a lot of times when I'm dealing with a woman who's drunk and who's yelling out or whatever, you know, I try to diffuse the situation, or I try to rally the groups. If she's with
in a group,
whoever she's with.
Yeah.
And try to rally them. And I remember one of the worst situations I had. I'll never forget this. I was working in Livonia, and I can't.
Where the hell is that?
That's in Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
Never even heard of that.
And I was
place.
working this club, and this drunk white lady called me a nigger. And remember, I told you the story.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things, dude, where it was the Late Show on a Saturday, and dude, they had just introduced me, and I walk up. Walk up on stage, and it was a predominantly white audience. Yeah. But they, you know, those groups of black people that came on. So I mean, they were at the table. I'll never forget this. They were at a table to the right of me. So I get on stage, you know, crowd is clapping or whatever, and I turn, and then right when I cut the music, this white lady go, "What's up, nigga, motherfucker?" Yeah. And I froze, and then I looked at the black table, and the motherfucker was like, I know you ain't gonna let that shit slide. So I just immediately, I go, "What did you say?" And she repeated it.
Oh, shit.
And dude, when she repeated it, I destroyed her, and I destroyed her whole group. Like when I tell you, this
was the club where you were wondering where was management.
Yes,
because they never.
There was no management in the room. But I'm going to get to that
anybody
shit.
Like a door guy or something.
So I just start destroying her about how ignorant she is, how much more educated I was, and like I went in like I totally. My goal was to humiliate her because she tried to humiliate me. So I'm killing her. Like everyone is the whole time cheering or whatever. And then she gets up and goes to the bathroom and starts. I found out later she went to the bathroom and started crying. And one of her friends was like, you didn't have to go that hard. And then I just started destroying the group going, you guys enabled this whole thing.
Yeah.
The moment she said that, you guys should have been like, yo, don't say like, you got to go. Like, hey, she's drunk. We're sorry.
Sorry about that.
They all enabled that shit.
And I'm sure they laughed when she said it.
Yeah, so they all got it. So they get up and leave. Half the people like gave them a standing ovation. And the black table was like, you got in their ass, you go boy. I remember the black lady going, you go boy, and shit. They better not be out there when the show's over. So, but here's the part that they get. So there's no security in this room.
You're right.
So I deal with that. I get the room, and can you imagine trying to go back to do stand-up comedy after you have to deal with that? But I kind of went back into it, and then. I guess the group had left. I guess the girl was in the bathroom crying or whatever. Now all of a sudden she's the victim.
Yeah.
So I'm going into my set. I'm kind of like 10, 15 minutes in. And then there's just a regular drunk table. So I'm already frustrated from dealing with the racial bullshit. Now there's just a normal fucking drunk table that's kind of acting up. So I start going in at the drunk table, and then I remember one brother going, they ain't learned yet, huh? They ain't learned? They must think because you light-skinned. So I start going in on them, destroying the table, and that's not the type of comedy that I want to do. I'm here to perform and do my show, but now because there's no proper security in the room, and this is going to get full circle back to the audience, there's no proper security in the room. Dude, all of a sudden, somebody walks up on stage, hands me a note, and I opened the note up. It was from management. It said, move on.
Wow.
Blood boiling, dude. Because now the club is trying to tell me how to do my act, and you guys haven't been here supporting me the whole time I've had to sit up here and put up with this bullshit. So I was so angry, dude. I probably did maybe 5 more. I was probably almost done with my set anyway.
Close, yeah.
But I got off stage. Instead of going backstage or whatever, I walked right through the audience, went right to the manager. I go, we need to talk. And she's like, it was enough. You know, you were, you just kept going on and on with that table and this and that. And, you know, the other girl was in the bathroom complaining, said you attacked her. I go, and it's a white lady. I go, she called me a nigga. And her face lit up like the fucking sun. She turned so red. She goes, are you kidding me? Oh, I go, oh, they left that part out? They left that part out? That she called me a nigga? She left that part out? And then, dude, her eyes started welling up. She said, I don't know. And I go, let me ask you this. You tell me to move on based on, she's like, Ruben, I just came in the room. She goes, we've had you here. You're so great. I've just never seen that. I go, that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I said, you had no security in the room.
Right.
You're serving alcohol.
Yeah.
And you have no security in the room. So I have to perform and police the room myself.
Right.
And then you have the nerve to walk in 35 minutes into my set, 40 minutes in my set, and think it's me after I've played this room, after I've gotten standing ovations in this room, after this is like my 4th time at your club, and all of a sudden it's me? No, it's you. It's you guys.
Yeah.
It's how you handle your business.
Right.
And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, the staff, you know, because it was one of those, it was one of those clubs where it was the comedy club was upstairs, then they had a restaurant downstairs, a bar downstairs. It was one of those multiple room type places. So they had most of the security, they had all of the security downstairs. And like just getting to the point of the audience, like clubs and venues do have a responsibility of policing the audience, because when alcohol is being served, people will not know how to act sometimes, or can't hold their liquor, where their true colors will, come out. But one thing that I did find interesting, so there was a group, like the lady who yelled out that racial slur, there was one girl in the group that she comes up to me, she goes, I'm embarrassed, I'm sorry, and this is the part fun, and I don't really know them like that. She was like, I was a friend of a friend, and they invited me on. Like, I don't know the rest of the girls, and I'm sorry you had to put up with that. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
And she was the only one in the group
that even bothered
to speak up. So what that leads me to believe is they all agreed with that mentality.
Right.
with that level of just. That's just venom. That's just
Vile,
mean.
dude.
That's just
Yeah.
vile
Yeah.
racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? To yell that out and to think just because the room is predominantly white that I'm just going to sit up there and take that shit. You know, if it came down to it, you know, I'll die for what I believe in. You know what I mean? So if it's a room full of people, I'm not going to sit up there and let you disrespect me to that extent. And I don't care if there was no black people in the room.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to do. You know, to stand up for
Especially
yourself in those type of environments.
Especially when you first got up there.
Dude,
I mean, you hadn't
I
even
had to start my set
and,
like
and just
that,
so everybody
dude.
knows, for people who don't know the time limits on headlining, it's a minimum of 45 minutes. So basically, Ruben stepped on stage. Somebody yelled this out. He has 44 minutes and 53 seconds
left.
And that's a huge amount of time when you're already sort of something's thrown at you at the very beginning. It's so a lot of times shit like that happens like
in the
midway,
middle. Yeah, from
somebody's
the very
drunk.
beginning,
you know what I mean?
dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From the very beginning. And I've always, you know, after that, like I've talked to other comics that I respect and everything. And me and you know this, there's comics now that will walk off stage.
Right.
They're just like, I ain't putting up with this shit. I'm done.
Fuck this.
I'm done. And
which sucks for all those other people.
It does.
By the way.
It does.
It's that whole, hey man, since so-and-so didn't do it, we're all doing push-ups. You know what I mean? Like even in sports where they make everybody pay for the lazy guy. But
you know, I'm a overthinker. And then sometimes like even being back at the hotel is like, I should have just, some part of me goes, I should have just destroyed her and then just dropped the mic and go, hey, I'm not working for a club that would allow something like this.
Right.
Because again, no one escorted the chick out. They got up and did it themselves.
And how many more days did you have after that? Or was that your last?
The name of the club was called Joey's. That's the name of it. It was Joey's.
Never did that place.
Joey's in Livonia.
Okay.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
How many more days did you have? Another show that night? Did you have another day?
I think that was my final show.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it kind of ended
so
on that type of note.
But you know what? You could have just walked off, and it would have been an easier situation than that being your first night.
Oh yeah,
because you know sometimes shit happens on the first night.
Yeah, and then you got to put up.
And
with
now
that
you
got
to figure out what are you doing? Are we staying for the? You know, you got to talk to management. Like I don't know if I want to stay at this club, or they're gonna be like, no, you got to go. Or so that in a weird way that worked. I mean, it's terrible. You know what I mean? But
and as a comic, you know, to be on stage and deal with that and being angered and still your job is to make people laugh. You know, and I still did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
In
People
the
don't
midst
understand
of
after
feeling,
all that. Yeah.
Feeling that type of anger, and kind of like the whole Russell Westbrook situation in Utah is, you know, when stuff like that is yelled out, when people yell out vile stuff to try to hurt you or to get a reaction, and I know some people may listen like, you should never give words that much power. What does it mean? But we're all human.
You got to put yourself in that position.
And it's what you determine what the line is. And when somebody crosses that line, for a lot of people, for a lot of black people, nigga coming from somebody that's not black is crossing the line. And
even without the R, everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you leave the R off, it doesn't make, you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. To me.
Because she was trying to, obviously she was saying it in a way she was thinking she was trying to be, right? Because she said it like N-I-G-G-A, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was trying to
and she thought she was being cool or whatever.
Cute and
but it was so disrespectful.
Totally.
And for Russell Westbrook to stand in front of an arena of people, knowing cameras are everywhere, knowing one is going to be on Sports Center, and to be able to go, nah, I don't play that shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk to me like that,
right?
You know, I'm a basketball player, but I'm a man first. I'm a human being, and I'm not going to let you disrespect me like that. And it gets back to just common human respect.
Sure.
For people.
Yeah.
You know, and you've seen my act. You know I am. It's like I truly, the way that I was raised, I truly have respect for everybody.
Right.
You know, and some people say respect is earned. I'm just like my teacher was in high school. Everybody starts off with an A. And how you act, how you treat me is going to determine what your grade is. So when I meet somebody, I'm going to be kind to you. I'm going to be respectful because that's how I was raised. And how you act is going to determine the level of respect. So if it's for scale from 1 to 10, everyone starts off at a 10.
Yeah.
But the more disrespect, like as you show me your character and your behavior, then that's.
And also too, I feel like groups of people coming to comedy clubs. Well, we've had this discussion with clubs in general.
Yeah.
That I know if I owned the comedy club, a group of 6 or more is not going to be anywhere near the front. So if a group of 8 or 10 come in, they're going to be in the middle. They're going to be over to the side. They're going to be in the back.
Yeah.
Because it's just disruptive in general, just taking drink orders.
Yeah.
Because they're all talking at the same time. And no, he wants this and this, he wants that. I just feel like people need to understand but it's never going to stop. We're always going to get the parties and the everything that wants to, they all want to be in the, up close.
Yeah, they want to be up close and
part of the show.
And you could enjoy the show and you could be a part of the show. But I always say is like, hey, wait until the comedian engages with you or has you or me. We're not one of those comics that come out and just start attacking people and going after. It's always a very friendly conversation if we decide to even talk to the audience. But I just want to make a point to the listeners, in Utah or in Boston. This isn't the only place stuff like this happens. Of course not. It's not just happens in Boston
happens
or
in
happens
El Paso.
in Utah, happens everywhere. I mean, it happens a lot because that's, racism is is a worldly problem. You know what I mean? And not saying every single game or every single show there's some type of racial incident or disrespectful incident, because there are great audiences who's come to shows and there's no incident.
And some people are just either insecure. There's always the insecure person in a group. By the way, if you have that one funny friend, leave him at home because that's usually the guy that can't handle seeing his friends laughing. And this is true, man. This is no joke, because I've called these dudes out and the audience members will go, yep. I go, let me guess. He's the funny one in the group, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll go, yes, he's our crazy funny guy. I go, right. Yeah, don't bring him to comedy clubs.
Dude, I've seen comics, and one in particular, I've seen DL do this, is when you have those guys that are doing that, hey man, you want to come up here?
Come on up.
I'll give you the mic. Let's see how easy it is.
Yeah.
Come up here.
Right.
And I've seen people take the challenge and go up there and eat ass.
And then you know what's great about those is when that happens, number one, the audience is already wanting them to fail.
Oh yeah.
So any little they're only going to give them 8 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
If you don't have something funny in 8 to 10 seconds, the audience is already. It's funny how the audience always goes, When the guy goes, we're like, oh yeah, well the other day it says something, and everybody goes, and then next.
Yeah, and I remember one time it was this one guy. I don't know if I did this, because sometimes with the years go by, but I just remember a guy going like, he thought he was funny, and he's like, hey, do you want to come up here? No, you the comedian. No, you don't. No, man. Yeah. You've been yelling out the whole show. Obviously, you want people to know you're funny. Mm. Come up here, man. Are you a pussy? Come up here.
Yeah.
And that, when you test their manhood that, they can't keep going back to the car. No, you the professional. Well, if I'm the professional, let me be the professional. And why don't you just set up and listen or leave or come up here and you do it. Yeah. And that emasculates them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right. And that usually will shut them down, But I just think it's just a respect thing, I think, in society that needs to be addressed. When you go out to see people perform, people work hard to put on a show for you.
Man, you ain't kidding,
you know how hard athletes work to win games? You know how hard we work as comedians to go. Do you honestly think a comedian wants to go on stage and not make you laugh?
Right.
You think we're going up there and we want you to not have a good time? Part of what we do is we want those laughs to make us feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're talking about our pain. Some of us are talking about our pain and what we've gone through and what we've dealt with. So do you think we want to go up and not be successful? Yeah. Do you want us to go, that's why it's like, as an audience, if I was an audience member, I root for comedians. I even root for comedians I don't like.
Right.
I want to see people do well because I know what it takes to have to get up there to perform in front of a room full of strangers to make them laugh. Stand-up comedy is such an interesting art form. Yeah. And it's like in music, musicians aren't judged as harshly as we are, because you can go see whatever band or whatever singer you want to see, and they'll sing the same song that they sung.
That you've been wanting to hear. Yeah.
But as a comedian, I heard that before.
Yeah, we can't keep going.
Man, that's one thing that's always a great compliment is when someone comes out, it seems like, man, you always have different stuff, man.
Right.
Because that's the pressure.
And people can't really heckle when bands are playing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just a different element altogether. I mean, it's completely different.
And the whole essence of stand-up comedy is, or comedy in general is the surprise, not knowing what it is, and you laugh at the punchline because you didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? For the most part.
Yeah.
I'm generalizing. So that's why it's important for us to be able to be creative and have that outlet to really put forth the effort. I mean, that's our job as comedians, to put in the work to make them laugh. But the fact that audiences sometimes think, like, even when someone's awful, you're still thinking, man, that guy didn't set out to bomb.
Yeah, and the other thing too, like you said, for the people who don't understand, there's only two rules, really. The main two rules in comedy are listen and laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So you listen. If it's not funny, you don't laugh.
Yeah.
If it is funny, you laugh. But that also means you don't have to moan and groan and
the moaners,
the moaners, the groaner. That to me is what's changed a lot more now.
Yeah.
Not even so much. You notice we've been talking about this. A lot of moaners and groaners out there now, man, because they're PC. They're very politically correct.
Yeah.
And so we now, they're not gonna heckle you, but they're gonna do the.
Especially my act is not a moaning type act. Like, I don't do a lot of
we don't even go there, and I get sometimes. And
when I get moaned, sometimes like, really?
What are you talking about?
This last dude's up here talking about sucking dick, and now you're moaning because I say I can't even remember the line.
That's really interesting because it's funny how sex stuff.
Yeah.
Audience members eat it up, and it doesn't matter how dirty it is.
Yeah.
No moans and groans during sex bits.
Yeah.
Okay. And then another comic will come up, and he either does something political or racial, or you know what I mean. And I'm not talking about pushing it. I'm talking about just a joke about, and then you'll get, we're like, wait a minute. That dude was just talking about, butt fucking a donkey a second ago.
Yeah.
And you guys were in stitches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because that'll happen to us on a show.
Yeah.
One of us will go like, did you hear these fucking moans and groans I got tonight? When I was only talking about me looking Indian or whatever, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And then we'd be like, but this dude comes up after us and, sucking this and doing that. And the audience goes ape shit.
I guess a lot of it just shows us where we are as a society right now.
Yeah.
The entitlement, the wave of entitlement.
That's how I started. We started this with entitlement for.
So whether it be comedy, whether you're going to a sporting event, I don't know, it's just weird. And then when you get alcohol involved, people become uninhibited, and they will start to, we've always said a lot of people, alcohol is a truth serum.
Yeah.
It's going to bring out probably pretty much how you feel. That's why a lot of times somebody, apologizes, after, it's like, there's always a part of me going, nah, you really meant that,
Right. That's why, remember how weird it was first doing shows when there was no alcohol, like at a church or something. And I remember at first I would always be like, oh, what? They're not going to be drinking. Well, they're not going to think those are the best crowds.
Yeah.
When we do these corporate events, or sometimes it's just a church shows, or just whatever.
People just coming to have a good time.
No alcohol. Those there's never anybody heckling because they don't have the courage. They don't have the liquid courage running through them.
Yeah,
it's amazing how great those shows are.
And shout out to the Utah Jazz, man, because they, like you said, they banned that guy for life.
Right.
They went and they did their due diligence. They did their investigation. But on the flip side of it, you heard what happened to the owner. Well, nothing happened to him, but the owner of the New York Knicks, Dolan. Some guy yelled out, "Sell the team! You should sell the team!" And he stopped and he goes, "What? What'd you say?" And basically told him, he goes, "I enjoy watching the Knicks on television." So basically, he tried to ban this fan for saying "sell the team," and then he goes, "That was rude." He was like, "Hey, it's just my opinion." And he goes, "No, it's not just your opinion. Actually, it was his opinion."
Right.
So a fan should have the right to voice displeasure as long as you're not being vile or vulgar or anything like that.
Or anything like that.
Yeah. So I just thought that was chicken shit on the flip side of it to try to ban somebody just because, you say they suck or they should sell the team or whatever that situation might be. But I think ultimately in comedy clubs, I think one thing that can help with these situations with hecklers is having proper security in the room.
That's a big one, man.
And not letting it escalate. Because a lot of times, we've been doing it for a long time. You can tell when someone's going to be a problem.
Oh yeah. Well, we know before we go up there. We're like, there's that dude, that girl over there.
And security needs to be on top of it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I usually at some of the clubs, I'll go tell the door guys, hey man, and what's cool? Some of them are already like, yeah. I'm noticing her, man. I'm gonna go stand, around behind.
Yeah.
But it's always tough too because it always seems like they're up closer to the stage.
Yeah.
So what happens is the door person, whoever's working, has to walk over now, and then everybody else sees it. And I think for people that are talking and are being disruptive, they know everybody sees them being told to be quiet. Some go with it.
Yeah.
That some just like, oh, all right, sorry. And then there's those other ones who are just like, oh, you're not gonna tell me to be quiet in front of everybody.
And so one aspect is, and what we kind of is people yelling and heckling and being disruptive in general. And I think the other one that's just as important is just people just being disrespectful in terms of being on their phones, having table conversation. Even they're not heckling the comedian, just to be in proximity where a comedian can hear you talking.
Yeah.
Like that to me is when you're in the act and then they just break into conversation. Yeah. It's like,
or ordering drinks, man. Some people just don't know how to order drinks.
Yeah, I mean that's a Johnny Sanchez thing. That doesn't bother me as much.
I've seen you turn and go, wait, what's going? Oh, you guys are ordering drinks. Okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't piss me off how it pisses you off.
No. When I see that they're ordering drinks, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. That's they're ordering.
Yeah.
But it is disruptive for the comic when, in other words, people just, I don't get, it's not everybody, but there's just those certain people that just go, vodka tonic, and you know what I mean? And you're just going, dude, you're 3 rows back, bro.
Yeah, but you know what I think when I think of those people, the reason why I give them a pass, the first thing that pops into my head is they've probably never been to a comedy club before.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of what I'm thinking when I see them, so it doesn't annoy me.
That could be the same for the people who are texting. Some people have never been in a club.
But the difference is there's an announcement that tells you to shut your phones off.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you said in the beginning, there's certain things where it's like, dude, you just don't do that. And there's certain things you shouldn't be told. Like I can get, if you're at a bar at a restaurant and a waitress is there and you're at the end of the table, you might yell out like, "Hey, can I get a?"
Yeah. They hate that too, by the way.
Yeah, so they do hate that. But that's something that I can see somebody doing. But pulling out your phone, answering your phone during the show, like that.
Well, first of all, it should be announced not only in that, because there are people who come in after the show starts and the host is on or whatever.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like there should be some type of people always come in through a certain way.
Yeah.
And there should be a little.
Or the hostess should say, go
again.
Hey.
Just like, at the end of their set.
So there's going to be a two drink minimum.
Right.
No, can please stay off your phone. And people wonder why Chappelle and Kevin Hart and Russell. Well, Russell doesn't take the phones, but he makes sure that people aren't on their phones. He has security that walks around the showroom, and that wasn't, like you said, that wasn't a problem. I would imagine 20 years ago,
of course,
or 15 years ago. Hey,
remember the smoking in certain clubs allowed smoking?
My God.
So you'd be right in front. They would just.
But I was fortunate, Johnny.
Of smoke coming up.
I didn't really work that many clubs. The only club that I can remember.
You weren't doing the Midwest and the South area. Midwest mainly for since Kentucky.
Well, Chicago. It was a Chicago club that I worked, and I think they might have just banned
Houston,
smoking.
Texas. Houston used to allow it.
Really?
Yeah. And then what they started doing was, then they started going, okay, as this people started, the country started getting strict, a little more stricter on smoking. Then they would do Friday and Saturdays. It would be smoking. Well, one club actually had it like smoking in the back. Like that makes a fucking difference. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then they started doing Friday early show non-smoking, Friday second show smoking.
Really?
Same on Saturday night. So the first shows would be fine, but the second shows everybody's smoking.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, because I remember Zanies.
Isn't that crazy? There were ashtrays all over the girls had to dump the ashtrays for the next show and clean up.
Damn.
How crazy is that, dude?
Yeah. And in Vegas they used to smoke. Remember?
Vegas they used to smoke too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. Yeah, but I guess the whole point that we're trying to make with this topic is, we need you guys to come out to shows. We love when you guys come out to shows.
Of course, man. It's great.
But when you come out to shows, just keep in mind that there's people who worked really hard to put on a show for you, and just be respectful whether you like them or not. I think is the ultimate. Sports is a little different. You can go, you can boo and this and that, but just don't get personal. Just don't cross the line. And a rule of thumb is just don't say something to somebody that you wouldn't say to their face out on the street.
Yeah.
Right. Unarmed.
Correct.
Yeah. Because some people talk shit if they're armed.
Of course.
But, I just think it's crazy. And if you have the desire to yell out racial stuff, then you need to examine your life. Because to me, racism is just the ultimate of ignorance to base how you feel about somebody based on how they look.
Right.
That to me is like the peak of ignorance. Because we've always said, when we talked about your daughter one time, you take a black baby, a white baby, a Latino baby, Asian baby, and put them all in a playpen.
Playpen.
They're going to play together.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any weirdness. There's not going to be, and we need to get back to that and just judging people for, the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Not to sound corny, but maybe this is always going to be an issue in our lifetime because people just don't take the time to educate themselves and really have conversations with people. Like you said, we'll get moans talking about race when race is absolutely something people should be talking about to get over it. Yeah. To have honest conversations. That's one thing I'm grateful for in my life is I have friends from all different walks of life.
Right.
And
mix of people,
and we'll have honest conversations. And sometimes they are uncomfortable, but they need to be had. Because to get to anything good in life, no matter what it is, you're going to have to go through uncomfortable periods.
Right.
So whether you're trying to get in shape, you're going to have to go through when you're working out. There's going to be times where it's going to be hard and you're not going to want to work out. Whatever it is in this industry, in life, you're going to have to go through that discomfort to get to the good stuff. So if America, and this is just not an American problem, this is a world problem. If people really want to get over racism, we need to be uncomfortable in it, trying to solve it and being honest with it to get to the other side where we can realize not liking somebody and treating somebody different based on the way they look is insane.
Right.
So that's all I got, man.
Duly noted.
That's all I got. So when you go to a game, heckle, say what you want to say, just don't get personal. If you come to a comedy club.
Yeah, let's focus on the comedy club. We're not playing any sports right now. The sports players are on their own, but listen.
Well, I was an athlete unlike you. So
I was an athlete, motherfucker. So
dodgeball does not count.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I found a picture of all my dad found my trophies. I told you I'm going to show you that.
So
and not even all of them, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With participation, were they participation trophies?
We'll have to use these in a photo just so everybody can see. That's just the trophies. I haven't found my medals yet. So
medals.
All my medals, man.
What'd you medal in?
We've had this conversation.
All right, never mind. I'm not going to get into
We're not getting into it. Anyway, don't go to a comedy club to be belligerent. Do what you want at a sporting event, but you
can't do what you want at a sporting event.
I just wanted to see what you'd say.
But when you come to a comedy club, just keep in mind that the comedians do want to do a good job. They do want to challenge you. They do want to make you think. They want you to laugh. Just be respectful, and stay off your damn phones.
Be in the moment.
Be in the moment.
Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. That you paid money to come see a show.
Yeah. They're gonna bury people in a few years.
Yeah.
They're gonna be in the coffin with their phone. They're gonna be like that with their phone in their hand. What? They're right here. We check our phones, man.
Whatever, man.
You know what I do? I think I do want to be buried like that. Like this.
With you gonna be buried with your phone in your hand?
Yeah.
Why?
It's what our lives are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, anyway.
I mean, we're in this
All right.
era, but anyway.
All right.
Please come out, see a live show. I have Ruby Tuesdays every Tuesday night
Tuesday.
at the Hollywood Laugh Factory at 9:30. It's always a great show. Everyone's included. It's always a diverse lineup. And yeah, we enjoy doing this podcast. And thank you for listening.
And not heckling.
How are they going to...
It's a joke, dude.
I know, it's a
but
joke.
thinking, like,
I mean,
come on,
jeez,
you know.
dude. Well, I mean, really? And no, you just had to throw that out.
Yeah, why not? That was the
Oh,
topic.
all right.
No heckling. The other one was no biggity.
The topic was not no heckling.
Pretty much.
No, we were talking about the audience.
Yeah, sports and comedy. No heck. Just don't keep it
Heckling
down.
and etiquette when you come to a
etiquette.
show. All right. So that's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. I'm Ruben Paul.
Are you saying it or am I saying it?
You're saying it.
I'm Johnny Sanchez.
You're Johnny Sanchez. And you look...
very immigrant-y.
I wasn't going to say immigrant.
Yeah. All right.
You do, though.
All right. Good.
A little bit.
Good.
And you should, man. Be proud of that.
I'm very proud.
When did your parents come to this country?
When they were born.
Oh, they were born here.
You know that. My brother.
Thanks for listening,
All
guys.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have to have my signing off thing. So what we learned today out of everything was all about etiquette. And as we continue this show together, Ruben and I, we want to reach out to everybody. And remember, yeah, we're funny at moments, but we can also be serious. We want you to be serious with us. So keep watching and listening to the best of everything. Hope you learned something today. I'm Johnny Sanchez. This is Ruben Paul.
And I'm Ruben Paul.
Good night.
You're so ridiculous.
Ruby motherfucking Tuesdays.
This show is all about diversity and bringing everyone together. You never know who you're going to see at Ruby Tuesdays.